Got this interesting question from a viewer. How can I convince my friends on the left that guns are not the enemy, but provide help?
We're standing right across the street from the convention center where that NRA conference is taking place, and we have a large protest that is set up here. Signs, class of 2025, I want to feel safe at school. Just some of the signs, the sentiment here. We've got one over here that says stop the violence, gun control now. And then right over here, tell the 21 families he had a right to buy that gun. That is the sentiment in this crowd. We have people screaming across the street at people who are attending the NRA conference. You can see it's right there.
Well, before we answer that question, quick reminder. We have a gun giveaway going on right now. You can enter for free, but it ends really soon. So just click the link in the description below to reveal which brand new gun you could win. Political discourse is fundamentally a form of leadership. We are trying to influence people in a way that will convince them and win their cooperation on our policy agenda. To lead people, you have to understand with whom you are interacting. How informed are they? Where on the political spectrum are they? How likely are they to change their mind? To be effective, you need to be able to make a strong case for gun rights. Our opposition hates that. In fact, the anti-gun crowd actively seeks to alienate us from the public discussion. They look for every chance to paint us as extremists, alarmists, paranoid, delusional, and bloodthirsty. That is frustrating, and you may feel like debates are a lost cause, and you're better off just simply disengaging. But that's exactly what anti-gunners want. We are not helping our cause when we get blocked, silenced, removed, shouted down, or self-eliminated from a discussion. So what should you do? First of all, put the burden of proof on them. Knowing that our opponents are trying to make us look unhinged, we are in a battle to look more reasonable than the other side in the discussion. So this often comes down to tone. You can deliver a strong argument with soft wording. Go out of your way to humanize yourself, express compassion, and use a friendly approach. That might be counterintuitive when someone is accusing you of enabling mass murderers of children because you oppose a so-called assault weapons ban, but it is what you must do in order to hold a seat at the debate table. One way to do this is to lead with questions such as, I understand you want to ban assault weapons. Can you talk me through exactly what you mean when you say assault weapon? Or, I have kids I want to protect as well. So what do you suggest I do in the event of a mass attack at the school? Questions that start with how are valuable here too. This keeps the burden on anti-gunners to explain their positions, which will often expose their gaps, contradictions, and flaws without having to attack them directly. It's usually not worthwhile to chide an opponent about every technical error he or she makes. Correcting every instance of clip instead of magazine may seem like you're exposing his or her intellectual weakness, but more often it looks like quibbling. Acknowledge his or her argument, ask him or her to support his or her case in detail, and then crush the argument in a calm and credible way. Cater to the outsiders who are looking in. In a social media debate, most of your audience is not actually participating. You may be arguing with one or several people, but you are unlikely to sway those people. Remember that you're also making the case to everyone following the comments. Your target audience is neither the pro-gun crowd, who already agree with you, nor the anti-gun crowd, who will never agree with you. You are looking to persuade the undecided folks and the skeptics. Maybe they didn't grow up around guns. Maybe their perception of guns has been shaped by the movies. Maybe they are sympathetic to personal freedom and civil liberties, but their social reference groups are strongly anti-gun. These are the people who are trying to reach. The spectator value of these arguments can't be overstated. You want to be the everyman so the spectator can relate to you and your perspective, which is only possible if you are sympathetic and your values resonate widely. Avoid language that makes you appear clearly partisan. Skeptics expect you to come in waving a Confederate flag and repeating what they imagine pro-gun people would say. So if you can disrupt that by intentionally taking them off guard, you stand a better chance of capturing their attention. That makes you harder to dismiss and clouds their identifiers, which can reduce hostility. Always remember to stay on message. Our strongest case is when we calmly explain the basis for our position. Life is a fundamental human right, and we have an embedded right to defend our own lives with proportionate force. For practical purposes, police cannot adequately provide that protection because it takes too long for them to arrive on scene. Guns do not guarantee our safety, but they offer us a choice and a chance, something better than begging for our kids' lives. In addition to self-defense, guns also offer a myriad of legitimate sporting purposes, including competition, hunting, and they provide a fail-safe against the unlikely but very real possibility of foreign invasion or a domestic government gone genocidally crazy. We can debate internally how likely those possibilities are, but knowing that our opposition is trying to label us as domestic terrorists, we shouldn't offer that discussion to them to use that against us. Gun rights advocates must appear humble, approachable, credible, and perhaps above all, normal. If you want to win, you have to close the gap between yourself and your audience. Help us make the case for gun rights and back the narrative in the public forum. Want to know the 3 biggest mistakes when carrying a handgun? Then click on the video next to me to reveal all 3 mistakes. Mistake number 2 may shock you. Everybody has their own cardinal rules for what they're going to do when they're carrying a gun, but right now I'm going to give you 3 things that you must never do